Actually, in actual fact, the program was decided in collaboration with the New Japan Philharmonic Artistic Department. I think because the soloist had already been decided, and he had requested a certain a kind of repertoire. So we wanted to balance that repertoire, which is mostly for the repertoire that's suitable for countertenor. And so we wanted to balance that first half. Of course, since Mozart is in the second half, we thought, Mozart is perfect. And the Linz Symphony is a wonderful example of his youthful writing. He wrote it in 4 days, if you can believe that. I think he was about 27 when he wrote it. He was visiting Linz and was invited to stay with an old friend of the family, a count. I think his name was Count Hohenstein or something. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but he was a friend of the family's, and so the Count set up a concert for Mozart in his honor. But Mozart didn't have any symphonies with him, so he wrote out this Linz Symphony in 4 days. Can you imagine? He composed it, wrote out the parts, and obviously rehearsed with the orchestra all in 4 days. So it's quite an amazing piece, and it's not a rush work at all, because it's the first symphony where he begins with a slow introduction, which sets a certain mood rather than starting out immediately with a fast piece. And it's also interesting that he wrote it right after his first opera, the Abduction from the Seraglio. And there are certain elements that you can hear a little bit similar to that opera. You can hear in the first movement and the fourth movement. And I think the audience will enjoy it. And then we also wanted to add a little bit of variety, so that it's not just music from classical and earlier, but still keep with the kind of lightheartedness and elegance. And so we also programmed the Mendelssohn Midsummer Night's Dream Overture, just to give a little bit of. It's like when you're planning a dinner, you want things to complement each other, but you also want enough variety so that people don't feel like they're just eating the same thing for the whole evening. So we want to balance out something that's that people can enjoy the differences, but also the way they work together. Well, as you say, I haven't worked with him yet, but I'm very much looking forward to it. It's interesting. In the past 20 years, countertenors have become much more in the public eye, much more in demand. It started, I think, at least in the States, David Daniels was one of the earliest ones that I can think of. He came to the Met in the new production of Orfeo and Euridice with Levine conducting, and I worked on that production with him, so it was very interesting. Again, at that time, people didn't associate countertenor voices with enough strength to be able to fill a large hall like the Metropolitan Opera, which is like 3,400 seats. So this was kind of interesting to everybody. It started. He became a star because of this kind of exposure. And then later on, for example, recently, the Met did Akhenaten by Philip Glass, and the lead role of Akhenaten was sung by countertenor Anthony Roth Costanzo. So, I'm very much looking forward to working with Mr. Fujiki, and especially when we were working on the program, we thought it would be nice to end off the program with the Kefaro from Orfeo, which is kind of the centerpiece of the opera, right near the end, when he thinks that Euridice is gone and he's mourning her. So it's a very heartfelt piece. also. It's nice to couple that with the Dance of the Blessed Spirit, which are probably the two most popular pieces from that opera.